friends, I welcome you all once again to this lecture series on HTML where we are trying to learn HTML. I hope whatever we have studied till now you have practiced at it. So in today's video we will be discussing deeper into HTML, and here you can see HTML elements. Actually, what is HTML element? So whatever the piece of code you are writing in HTML, I already told you earlier, there would be a tag name, that is start tag, and there would be an end tag, and the contents would be in between it. So it is a start tag, element content, and the end tag. So this whole thing is known as HTML element. So this is a heading HTML element where there is h1 is the start tag followed by the content, that is element content is my first heading, and then that h1 end tag. So likewise you have to always write HTML elements like this. But there may be some elements where there would be no content, like in break element. In break element, when your line break is there, so there you need not to have any element content or end tag. You simply use that break tag. Nested HTML elements means if there are more than one HTML element within an element. Within an HTML element there are one or more than one HTML element. So like I already told you in the simple code, here you can see this is HTML, and in that HTML there is body, right? And body is enclosed again in this HTML and tag. So all HTML elements, all HTML coding that we are doing, it is nested. Inside an HTML element there is another HTML element, like inside the body there is h1 tag, and then there is h1 ending tag. So like this, inside one HTML element there is another HTML element, HTML tag. So we call it as nested HTML elements, right? So in this example there are 4 HTML elements: HTML, body, h1 and p. All are nested HTML element, right? I hope you are understanding it. So in the next example you can see body. Inside the body tag there is h1 and there is p. So these are HTML elements. The body element describes the document's body. Whatever you see in the browser, I already told you, whatever you are seeing inside the browser, it is written inside the body element. So everything would be inside the body element that your browser is displaying to you. So body have two elements, h and p. I already told you. This is called nested element. So we must always try to never skip the end tag, because writing the end tag is also necessary, but sometimes it may display if you forget. So HTML element may display it correctly. Suppose you forget the ending of this p tag, right? So it's okay, the HTML will display it, but we should always try to do the clean and clear coding, right? We must always remember that once you are starting using the start tag, there has to be the end tag if it is required. Some empty element, HTML element are there, like break tag or line break. So that does not need any closing tag. You simply write the br tag and it will work. If you want to break a line in a paragraph, so this is A would be displayed in a one line, and after another line, in the other line, the paragraph with a line break would be shown, right? And HTML codes are not case sensitive, so you can use uppercase or lowercase as you require. You can use it, but that lowercase is preferable in HTML. We are preferably using the HTML in the lowercase. Now we will see the HTML attributes. What is the HTML attribute? Attribute means we are providing some additional information inside the HTML element. So when we are using any tag, so if we are trying to provide some other information, some additional information we are giving to that element, that for that we are using the attributes. So there is a tag. For linking we are using the a tag. So in link tag there additional information, that is the reference to the link is provided with the help of this href. So in the a start tag we would use this href is equal to https w3school.com. so this is the link that we are using. Likewise in image always have to be some source so that that image can be displayed. So inside the image start tag we are using that src stand for source, where that image is. So that path we have to write in the source, then only that image will be displayed, right? So there are two ways to write the path. One is the absolute url. URL means I already told you in the first lecture itself. URL is uniform resource locator. So where the image is lying, you have to write the path. If you are using the absolute URL, so you will have to use the website address followed by your directory address and then that image path. So in absolute you have to write the full path of that file where that is lying. But in case of relative URL, you need not to write the full website path. You simply need to enter the directory path and the file path where that file is there, right? So home directory followed by the file name, and relative URL is preferable because this domain it may change, that link may change, so your code will not work, your image will not be displayed once there is a break in the URL. So we prefer to use the relative URL so that the all assets are relatively available there even when the domain is changed. Then the width and height attribute. So suppose we are using an image. So image itself is defined like it has some particular height and width. But how that image is to be displayed in a web page, whether it has to be a size of 500 or 600, width and height 600, or you can reduce that height. So no, it doesn't matter what actual the height of image is, but you can always set the image width and height with the help of width attribute and height attribute in the image tag. So these src, width and height, these all are attributes that we are using so that we are adjusting the size of the image that is being displayed in the browser. Okay, so alt means if suppose for some reasons image is not displayed, it may be the break in URL or the location is not correctly mentioned, so at least the user must know what is there, so that simply text it can display. Alternate text, alt stand for alternate text. So suppose this image is not being displayed due to some error, so this text would be displayed that this image is of girl with a jacket, so the user can have an idea what kind of image is there that may not be displayed for some reason. See what happens if we try to display an image without that does not exist, so this alternate text would be displayed. I hope this is clear to you. Now we will see the style attribute. The style attribute is used to add styles to an element. So whenever you want to add some styling means you want to change the color or some appearance of that paragraph or some HTML body. So inside the tag you will be using the style attribute. Style attribute will change the color, its appearance, position, its thickness. So these, its font weight, font size. So these kind of styling can be done with the style attribute in the starting tag. So I would just suggest that whatever we are studying here, you just practice in your notepad. You write these codes, you change this code and try to learn, try to see in browser what kind of changes it is going to do. So unless and until you don't practice this, you will just forget. So there is language attribute lang. So lang will display the language, what language is being used in the website. So here en is the English. So in HTML you can define the language attribute. So language attribute will declare the language of the web page, whether it is English or Russian or some other language or Hindi, any language can be used. So that language of the website will be declared in the HTML tag. So this is also the attribute. Country code can also be there. So we will just write en space US. US means United States. Title attribute. So title attribute, what it is doing, it is adding some extra information about an element. So the value of title attribute will be displayed as a tooltip when you mouse over the element. Suppose you write p title is equal to I am a tooltip. This is a paragraph. So when you hover in the in this paragraph, it will be showing like this. You can see here. So when you hover over the paragraph, it will show that I am a tooltip. You can see it is showing I am a tooltip. So this title can be added to any paragraph so that whenever a mouse is hovered means whenever you are placing the cursor over anything, so that would be displayed. Like we have written I am a tooltip. So when we are placing the mouse over this paragraph, it will show here that I am a tooltip, right? So like this, we can also add information to any paragraph. So we should always use lowercase for the attributes. But as I already told you, key HTML is not case sensitive. So you can also go with the uppercase, but it is a good practice to always use a lower case, right? And always use quotes for the attribute values. Although it may work, HTML standard does not require you to use the quotes around the attribute values, but it is a good practice because most of the coders or developers they are using. So these quotes, if you are providing any value to the attribute, so it must be inside the quotes. That again, it may be single quote or double quote, it doesn't matter, but it is always a good practice to use a double quote for giving some value to this attribute. I hope these things are clear to you. Although it is a very basic thing, when you will practice again and again, you will be having a hand on it. So need not to worry, just have enough practice and it will only come with practice. No lecture can make you adapt in it. You have to practice at your end. There is no alternative to it. I hope you have understood it. So whatever we have studied till now, that all HTML elements can have attributes. Attributes can be of href in case of linking. When we are linking any page or anything, so that you have to do with the a attribute. In the a tag, href attribute can be used. In the image, we always use src for the source to display the path where the image is there. We will write the path in the src tag, src attribute. So this is attribute and this is tag. Width and height is the attribute, is the additional information that we are providing to image, so that the browser which is displaying the image, it will show the exact width and height of the image, right? So and alt, I told you, alternate text. Alternate text means for some reason if image is not getting displayed, so alternate text would be provided to the user so that he can understand suppose image is not there, so what kind of image the coder is trying to display it in the website, right? So style, I already told you, for font size and color or appearance you can always use the style tag and it will be inline styling. So in that inline styling these appearance can be changed, and language attribute and the title attribute. These are the basic things that I covered in this lecture. So again, I would say you study bit in bits and pieces, but whatever you are studying, that has to be perfect, because if your foundation is strong, so you can learn any number of things later on, any advanced stage you can go. But first of all, always try to learn the basics is very important to build, to have a good hand on, or to be adept in HTML or any development that you will learn later on, right? Till then, bye bye, thank you, see you in the next video very soon.